Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Docs Huddle, your gateway to an in-depth connection between sports medicine and the latest events in sports, fantasy, and betting. Today's show is brought to you by the Health and Wellness Depot. Unlock the power of well-being. What's going on, gentlemen? With me, as always, CJ, the sports enthusiast, Dr.
I'm good.
MJB, the legend. I'm Dr. Mikey B, and thank you for joining us in today's Week 1 NFL Week 1 preview episode of the Docs Huddle. Very exciting, guys. We've officially made it. We have football, real football, meaningful football tomorrow. Okay, very exciting game. We will get to that a little bit later. Before we do that, though, I just want to ask, how are you guys? What are you guys' thoughts? Are you hyped or what?
Oh yeah,
I know I am.
mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially starting tomorrow with a big game. So that'll be exciting. Good way to kick off the season.
Yeah. Saw
I
a lot
fully
of college
agree.
football last weekend. Ready for the professionals to play now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. We finally made it. I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of this cold weather we're having. Like, it's starting to come in. It's more in like the mid to low 70s now up here in
I think
Jersey.
it's cold by you, not me.
Yeah. I know you
And
guys.
Mike's even got warmer weather.
Yeah, you guys are not dealing with that yet, but up here it's starting to get a little chilly.
It's chilly here. It was in
Yeah?
the 60s this
Yes,
morning. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. It's just not
in the
not-
morning. Yeah, in the morning.
Yeah, well, yeah, not for me. But anyway, with that being said, it does bring football, and that is the positive. And what that means is this is going to start our in-season shows, and so these shows are going to be structured a little differently, and there'll be some changes along the way. But we're going to be discussing different aspects of injuries that we're going to see week to week, and how that's going to affect everyone's fantasy football teams, how that's going to affect betting. We're going to be providing our weekly parlays, our doctor's prescription, if you will. So stay tuned, and we're going to be touching on all that as the show goes on today. With that being said, let's start with our first segment, Doctor's Rounds. So, guys, this is where we're going to be talking a lot about the injuries. There hasn't been too many significant ones as we haven't started the season. Most of these are either done in preseason or still lingering from last year, impacting people's fantasy teams. Two major ones that we're going to bring up today, one of which is Hollywood Brown on the Chiefs. I didn't draft him in on my team this year. Did either of you guys?
No, I stayed away from him just because he's actually suspended. And I was actually pretty high on Xavier Worthy, different topic, but that kind of kept me away from Hollywood Brown.
Yeah. He's out with the shoulder. So he's definitely going to miss week 1. I think that with him being out, it definitely adds some value to Xavier Worthy. I don't know if I'm going to play him personally. I think Rashee Rice is a definite start. What are your thoughts, Dr. MJB?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't draft him. Even if I did draft him, he was not going to be a top priority starting. He would have been my flex at best. But since we were in 10-man leagues, I just didn't see the value of taking a guy that I thought would be maybe the third or fourth option on this team. So, but yeah, even if he was there, like you guys mentioned, I think Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, Pacheco, and Rashee Rice are going to get, more targets towards there.
Yeah.
But he does have value, so I'm curious to see what that looks like when he does come back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm even considering starting him week 2 if he is ready for the Bengals. I want to see what he can do first. He's a little bit more of like a little bit later in the season potential type of guy for me.
Yeah, that's how I see him. A little bit later in the season, see how he comes back and develops chemistry with Mahomes and how many, what he can do in terms of fantasy points with everyone else on their team because they have a high-powered offense. They're going to be splitting points. So, yeah, for me, it's definitely a wait to see how he can develop.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that, Rashee Rice's value is, I guess, bumped up a little bit. I got to be honest with you. I'm just not a fan of the Chiefs wide receiver room in the past. It's been abysmal. So until I see it, I'm not going to be sold on any of it. I know they have one of the best quarterbacks in the game, but fantasy wise, if your name's not Travis Kelce, I'm not going to be totally sold on anyone until I see it happen this year. I don't know if I'm being ridiculous. Do you think so?
No, makes sense. I
mean,
none of those guys have really like stood out and proven themselves. Rashid Rice had a couple of good games at the end of the season, but we haven't seen that consistently over a year. Same thing with Hollywood Brown. In the past, he's had good games on different teams, but again, new environment. Don't know what that's going to look like. Kelsey's the only one proven commodity around Mahomes, so we give him that added value, and then everyone else is kind of wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree all around.
Completely agree. And you know, the other one, Nick Chubb, he's the other guy that I think is worth talking about during our doctor's rounds. I think some people took him as flyers a little bit higher than I certainly would have in our fantasy drafts. I think he's someone that was an amazing athlete and still is. What is his potential, though? I'm not thinking. I know they're saying, hopefully after 4 weeks he'll be playing. I think that Jerome Ford is the guy. I think that if you want a replacement for him, you're looking for another guy that's going to be starting at the running back position. He is going to be the guy getting the bulk of those carries, in my opinion, for a while. And I'm saying away from the Nick Chubb start until we see it. If you have him sitting on your bench, riding the IR seat, whatever it might be, that's fine. And just let that marinate. But I'm not starting him until I've already seen production from him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, even when he does come back, whether it be 4 weeks or more, he's not going to just hit the ground running. And in terms of a fantasy point of view, even when he does come back, if he's healthy, like you mentioned with Jerome Ford, he's going to be splitting carries. There's no way he's going to come back full production, right away. Maybe late in the season, but I would be very hesitant from a fantasy perspective.
I think that's why people took a flyer on him. Every year, you get running backs who pop that we weren't expecting to have good seasons, and if we're all banking that at best he'll be his best towards the end of the season, I think some teams just see value in that and like, well, if I have a solid roster, make playoffs, he could give me that push to the championship. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I definitely hear you. So, that's really all we have for our rounds today. There's not too many legitimate injuries. If anyone has questions, please feel free to mention them in the comment box. We can always get back to anyone or message us on our Instagram at the Docs Huddle. I know there's been some questions about the sternoclavicular injury for Hollywood Brown. There's not too much to say about it, right? Other than he's a wide receiver. He's got to be able to get up overhead. He's got to be able to do that and be able to take hits to the shoulder, which he's going to put strain on that area. So until he's able to do that, I don't think he's going to be able to do much. I mean, where he makes his living is with his speed. I don't, obviously he's going to be moving this arm quickly, but I don't think that it's going to have that much of an impact on him and his ability to be the great player he is once he is cleared. So I think it's just a matter of when he's cleared and can he be that, deep threat, fast receiver for Pat Mahomes that they hope he can be. I don't think that this is an injury that's going to really inhibit his fantasy production. If he does have good fantasy production or not, I don't think that the injury is going to be the reason for either of those.
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, that's really all I have to say about that. So in regards to doctor's rounds, did you guys have any other injuries that you want to discuss or?
No, not for week 1. Only thing that I'd point out is for Christian McCaffrey fantasy holders, he's in full swing and he's not limited in practice anymore. So he'll be, 100% healthy and good to go.
All right. So that brings us to the roster triage. So with guys coming out, obviously it's week 1, so this is not going to be as impactful in relation to the injuries. We have a lot of stardom situms, right? Week 1, we're already thinking about, yes, we just drafted. We're excited. Most people are going to just play the guys that they drafted as their starters week 1 and just let whatever happen. We're here to tell you that may not be the best option, right? There might be some matchups that are going to hinder these guys. Even though you draft them, they might be your starter or a fringe player, flex player, do you want to play them based off of the matchup that they have going into week 1? So I'm going to start off with the scenario that I'm in currently, still debating it. I'm not playing either of you in our fantasy league this week, so I think that this works out quite well. And guys, New York Jets defense, top 2 ranked defense in fantasy, but I'm playing the San Francisco 49ers Monday Night Football. Am I going to start this team and risk, them not showing up and then just getting bludgeoned by this powerful offense, or do I just stay true and stick with it? What are your guys' thoughts?
That's a really tough one. I mean, 49ers are definitely
That's
putting
why I
up
asked
points. The 49ers are definitely putting up points, but I know that if I'm not mistaken, you and many other people were very high on the Jets defense being top 3, potentially top 5 for sure, maybe top 3 defenses. So if you really stand by that, then I don't see how you can sit them for week 1. I think that's a hard sit. And then I think the harder question is, if you sit them, who's actually available for you to replace the Jets defense with? Because everyone's got a defense, so you're looking at potentially mid to bottom of the barrel defenses left over. I think from my perspective, I think you're forced to play them, but I understand the hesitation.
Yeah, I agree with Chris. I think you're forced to play them. I think the Jets defense is great. I just don't know what to expect from the Jets offense. And we all know if your defense is out there long enough, they're going to get exposed at some point. So that's where the fear comes in, is if the Jets aren't moving the ball, right, what does that look like for their defense?
Yeah,
Are they
time of
playing,
possession.
exactly. Are they playing
Yeah.
majority of the game? Are they getting worn out now? Those running lanes get bigger, guys start falling for the play action fake and things like that. So
when that happens, it's over, because the 49ers do it better than anyone else in the game.
Oh, yeah.
With their play action game, so.
But if their offense is looking good, then, I mean, that's a solid sit, right? Because then it'll be a low-scoring game, if anything, right? Both defense are playing great. So it just depends. So that offense is really going to tell me what that defense is going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that stardom is a no-brainer. If the Jets somehow get ahead, and then they're stuck having to pass the ball, come from behind, meeting the 49ers. They know they've seen that they can't do that efficiently in the past, not with this Kyle Shanahan offense. So I think that I'd be safe there. I was debating on maybe picking up a Falcons defense, playing the Steelers. Got some new weapons. Steelers, I think it'd be terrible.
Bad move. I mean,
I know, and I'm didn't want to tell anyone this because this is, of course, my moves for fantasy, but I know you're jotting them down. I'm sure one of you is going to pick up the Falcons before Sunday. But
let me do it right now. Hold on.
Yeah, I figured as such. But these are things I'm still debating on that you might see me do. I've been toying with the idea, but I have not pulled the trigger just yet. So that's really it. We'll see what happens. I guess by next week, I'll be sure to let everyone know if it was a good start or sit. We're going to find out. The other one that I had for everyone today, not related to my fantasy football team, just because I know in some leagues, this guy was basically drafted as the starter. In ESPN, he was drafted as the number 1 drafted quarterback in fantasy for their league, for their fantasy football league. And then you have other ones, many other people I've spoken to where this guy has been the second quarterback drafted, one of 2, and they're just holding on to him because they're nervous to play him because they don't know what he's going to look like coming back after that injury last year. And so but they think that he has all the potential in the world. And that is no one other than Anthony Richardson, the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans. Now, this Texans defense it's only gotten better since last year. And quite frankly, we don't know what to expect from Anthony Richardson. I mean, is AR going to do his thing, or is he not? Week 1. Heard good things. Heard he looked okay in camp, but I think it's a warranted question. Some people are going to say, Mike, that's easy. You just start him because of the projections that he's supposed to have. But when I'm talking to other people, I don't think it's a clear cut. What are you guys' thoughts?
That is not. That's a tough one.
This is what I do.
That's a tough one, man. I don't know what to expect from Anthony Richardson week 1. I wouldn't bet against it, but if you have a viable option, like if you're stuck between your quarterback playing a great defense and him playing the Texans, I'd probably bank on him.
I completely agree. That's my scenarios too.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the defense matchups.
Yeah. And you don't know, he gives you dual threat ability. And because he didn't have his full rookie season, it's hard to, there's not a lot of tape on him. So you just don't know what you're going to get. So yeah, I wouldn't start him if I had another option, but if my option is playing a great defense, then, A. Richardson is my guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of similar. If you've got another option, maybe you grab Kirk Cousins or something, and as your backup quarterback, depending on if you have 10-man league or whatever, someone of that stature. Maybe you want to play him for week 1. Really, for me, actually, the one thing that gets me is it's a divisional game. Divisional games are always kind of slow moving the ball. Not always, but they make it tough. So his first game back against a divisional rival, I think it'll be a slow start to his season, but I don't think he's gonna do nothing. He's definitely gonna put up points.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I'm with what MJB said. If you got 2 quarterbacks, the other one has a questionable matchup, I'm going with AR. If you had the kahunas to draft him, then just go out there and play him, bro. Like I didn't draft him because I don't know what to expect. I know that he's got this great upside, but I didn't do it. So if you got it, do it.
I almost did it.
Oh, you did. That's why I'm looking at you. That's my start situms.
All right, I'll jump in here.
Okay.
I'll jump in here. I got my first stardom situm. We got James Conner against Buffalo Bills and Aaron Jones against the Giants. Since MJV already went, Mike, let's hear what you got. What do you think? Blank stare.
Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm starting Aaron Jones. Now the New York Giants defense is unbelievably better on paper. Their front 7 is actually quite scary. Like if you look at their front 7 on paper, it looks awesome. The thing is that the Minnesota Vikings are going into the Meadowlands, and Sam Darnold, and you were going to hear me talk about this later on in the show. Sam Darnold is known for his inability to face the ghosts of the Meadowlands. Okay. MJB, you and I witnessed it together when he was on the Panthers. We sat right next to each other in the stadium, and we know that he saw ghosts, as he did when he played for the New York Jets. And now he returns as a starter once again for the Minnesota Vikings and will be showing up and have the inability to effectively throw the football against the New York Giants pass rush. As a result, I believe that Aaron Jones is going to get a lot of carries, and the New York Giants run defense was suspect last year. Even though it should be better on paper this year, we need to see it first. I think that the Buffalo Bills defense is a little bit more of a sure thing. And I think that Aaron Jones coming in healthy, I think that he's an underrated back. I think that, he was really, really, really good on the Green Bay Packers when healthy. He just has been banged up the last, season, and we haven't really heard much about him. I think he's going to be very effective for the Minnesota Vikings.
MJB, what do you think?
Yeah, remind me, are both running backs splitting carries?
I mean, they're getting the bulk. If they're splitting carries, it's not going to be a 50-50. They're both starting, like getting heavy loads.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I roll with Mike. I think Aaron Jones is going to have so many more opportunities. Yeah, what else are you going to do? Sam's going to start off. He's going to start off bad, and then it's going to be like, only way to get out of this is just to run the ball. So, listen, I saw him in person, man. God, it hurt my soul because he was on my team. And I saw it in person live, and I'm a firm believer that he does see ghosts, and he'll see more of them this weekend.
Right? He might play great the rest of the season. It should not be week 1 against the New York Giants because it's in the Meadowlands. If it's in Minnesota, it'd be something different, but they're in the Meadowlands.
Well, I have both of these guys on my team. So, Aaron Jones currently is starting for me. I'm having these guys make my decision for week 1.
Look at this guy, man.
But yeah. All right, jump to my next one. I got an interesting one here. Both are number 1 wideouts for both teams. Amari Cooper at Dallas or Terry McLaurin at Tampa Bay. MJB, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Man, that's tough. This was good. This is actually a good one. Really
this
good.
is a fantastic one. I like this. The ones we've done this far, including my own.
Let me grab the dice. Man. I am going to go with Terry McLaurin.
So you think week 1 Jaden Daniels has a big game or what?
Yeah, that, and I just think Tampa Bay's secondary is weaker than Dallas, so it gives a lot more opportunities for Terry McLaurin. We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like with Deshaun in Cleveland, so yeah, I'm going to roll with Terry McLaurin.
Okay,
I completely agree. Honestly, I don't love either start. Just because to be honest, like if I'm stuck between the two, I'm going Terry McLaurin here just because of everything Mike said. I'm not going to feel good about Deshaun Watson throwing against that Dallas defense. Honestly, I'm not looking. I just don't. Amari Cooper is a fantastic option. It's just who the hell is going to get him the ball? Watson's not going to get him the ball well, I don't think, week 1 against that Dallas defense. And then Terry McLaurin, you have a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels who's going to be looking and feeding this guy targets because he's his number 1 option. And it's going to be against a weaker Tampa Bay secondary. So he's going to get targets. I think that overall, you got a better option. Go there.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Now, if our boy gets in, then
yeah. Some of that starts happening. Immediately, all bets are off. Amari Cooper, 100% on the way. Come on now.
What are you going to say, Chris?
No, I agree. I think that the secondary plays a good, part of decision making there. So, I think that Amari Cooper going against Dallas is going to be a tougher one. So I like that taking Terry McLaurin.
Cool. So for my roster triage, I don't have a comparison between 2 different guys. I'm just going with suggestions of what I think people should be doing if they have these individuals. So my first one, I have Joe Burrow versus the Patriots defense. I think if you have him, you should start him. Joe has all his weapons back. And I think that.
Does he?
Yeah. I think Jamar's gonna play. Didn't he show up?
He showed up. He showed up. I think so too. But I'm definitively not, certain, but I think so too.
Yeah, I think he's gonna show up.
Yeah, I think it's for his boy Burrow. I think he's doing it for him. He's like,
1,000%.
As he should, as he should. He's the reason why he's a Bengal, right? They would have drafted Penei Sewell if it weren't for Burrow asking for him. Yeah. So
Yeah.
All I was gonna say is I think if you're drafting Joe Burrow, it's a no-brainer. You got to start him. I mean,
I think this is a good. I think this is a good start. The Patriots defense, the Patriots team.
Yeah. So much turnover.
I have no idea what to expect. Not good things, I don't think, but we'll see.
Yeah, I actually think my boys are in a better position than them, honestly. So
I'm not.
No one's saying nothing. It's crazy, man.
About that.
That's crazy.
I disagree. No.
Oh my god.
Did you say you don't disagree, Mike? I disagree.
I know.
The both of you just look like, there it goes. There it goes. Wow.
No, okay. I'm with Mike. I'm with Mike on this. I'm with Mike on this. I think that the Panthers have a better opportunity by maybe a game. Maybe.
Oh my God! Next,
And then
Okay.
my next roster triage is going to be quick because it's something that we kind of talked about earlier. But I have Giants defense. If you have them, start them against Sam Darnold for all the reasons we
Absolutely.
just said earlier.
Absolutely.
for all the reasons.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's just a must start.
Absolutely.
So,
And listen,
ITB, are you betting on the Giants to win?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
absolutely.
Most
Which
definitely.
brings us to our next segment. The Doc's prescribed parlay. Now, this segment we discuss at least one, if not multiple. Today will be just our one because week one betting is always very, very tricky, right? Like you don't know what to expect. And normally I'll even stay away from week one. But this week one gifts us with two games that I feel very good about, as do you guys, which we were just alluding to. And our prescription for the week is the Giants money line and the Bengals money line. This is almost a lock. I mean, I think that the Giants need to get off to a good start this week. It's week one. They have a rough middle of the schedule. They're coming off an abysmal letdown year last year, and they're going up against Sam Darnold. They're at home. Everything is put in place for them to have a very good week one. It's their 100th year anniversary. They're going to be celebrating it all week. They're doing the Fan Fest this Friday. It is just the moment that we've been waiting for as Giants fans. Go out there and get the goddamn W. Then you go on to the Bengals, who we just discussed, playing an abysmal Patriots team, so we believe. And the Bengals, listen, they also had a very poor year last year. It's because Burrow was out. We know, when it wasn't. Listen, I say very poor. It wasn't as bad as the Giants year. It was a letdown comparatively to what we thought they were going to be able to do. I think they come out strong week one. They get themselves a win. So if you guys are looking for what's as close to a lock as we can imagine for week one, where week one there's almost never a lock, this small parlay should be a good one for you. This also can help those who are in survival pools. So if you're like, who am I going to pick week one in my survivor pool? Well, guess what? No one wants to pick the New York Giants later on, and you have to rely on them to win. This might be that game where you get them out of the way, they get you that W, and you move on, because this should be the game that they win. Guys, any added comments?
No.
No, I
Clearly,
mean, as far as a survival pool goes, if you're talking about it, I'd be a little bit more comfortable with the Bengals only because it's week one. Sometimes the Giants start out flat. That's the only thing I would say to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I feel like the Bengals are going to get you more wins later on in the season. I mean, this is a surefire one. So if you want to guarantee a win, I mean, there's no guarantees, but the closest thing to a guarantee, yeah, you take the Bengals this week, and then you move on, and you're moving on to the next week in your survivor pool. The only thing is then you use the Bengals really early. But I mean, yeah, like you said, the Bengals are even more. I mean, look at the money line, minus 440. I mean, that's almost a guarantee. But with the Giants at minus 120 money line, I don't think people are taking into consideration that goes to the Meadowlands. I mean, it's almost like a sure thing. I don't understand it. But anyway, so that is the Doc's Huddle's prescription parlay for week one. We're moving into our final segment of today's show, our 2-minute drill. How the 2-minute drill is going to work is one of us each week are going to be responsible for giving our predictions for all the games to come, starting with tomorrow night's game, the Friday game, and then going into all of the Sunday and the Monday night games. Today, before starting the 2-minute drill, we're going to selectively just discuss the week one, game one. That's the Ravens Chiefs tomorrow. And then the Friday special in Brazil, which will be Green Bay and the Eagles. We'll have small chat on that. Then moving into the 2-minute drill, which is going to be done by Dr. MJB, the legend himself. And then after he gives us his quick rundown with the remaining 2 minutes, CJ, the sports enthusiast, and myself are going to give our quick feedback to wrap up the show. So let's discuss tomorrow night's game first, guys. Dr. MJB, start us off. What are your thoughts?
All right, as you guys' week week one prognosticator, I'll go ahead and give you guys the rundown of what's going to happen. Okay, you guys can rebut all you want. But
Ain't no guess what's gonna be.
So, all right, football is back, baby. We start week one tomorrow night. We have the Ravens and the Chiefs. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys I am rolling with the Ravens on this game.
Yes, sir.
Chiefs historically have started the season off slow, but when they do catch fire, they catch fire. I just think that Ravens have stacked up. They're hungrier. You know, it's always better to start the season as being someone who's hungry and who's better than someone who's already eaten. So because the Chiefs already are coming off a championship, a Super Bowl championship last year, I think that they're going to have a slow start to the season, and Ravens will have the edge in this game.
Okay. I'm probably gonna go with the Chiefs on this one though, but can dive into that. I mean, I just can't. I can't.
I'm with the flock.
I can't dime out the Chiefs first game in Arrowhead. Ravens have a lot of new changes. You got to see how it's going to work out. They're going to be amazing. I don't know if they're going to be amazing week one against the Chiefs. It's going to go down to the wire. We'll see what happens.
Great first game. Great first game.
I cannot wait for tomorrow night.
All right. And then Friday night we have the Packers versus the Eagles. This one was a tough game because it's neutral site, right? It's in Brazil. So no one has the upper hand here.
That's a tough game.
As much as I hate to say it, I think I'm gonna go with the Dirty Birds to win this game. It'll be a close game, but I just think that I'm going based off experience in this game, being in an away setting, and the Eagles find a way to pull it out.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree too. I think it's going to be a very close game. I'm rooting very hard for the Packers. I just think that this is the start of the emergence of Saquon's potential, and we're going to see it Friday evening.
Yeah, they're just going to pound the rock.
Yeah, he's going to. I think personally, he's going to run all over the place.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, and to begin the 2-minute drill, MJB, take it away.
All right.
And you are wait, and you are officially on the clock.
Okay, perfect. All right, so listen up, everyone. This is your boy MJB. You take my word for what I'm about to tell you right now, because my word is law this week. All right, I'll be honest with you. This Steelers and Falcons game was one of the toughest ones to pick this week. I went back and forth for a while, but I am rolling with the Falcons because they are at home. Okay, so I have the Falcons over the Steelers.
Easy pick. You're crazy. Next,
I have the Bears over the Titans. I have the Texans over the Colts. I have my Carolina Panthers over the Saints. That's right.
In the Superdome, you're crazy.
My Carolina Panthers over the Saints. Saints who? I have the Raiders. I have the Raiders over the Chargers. I have Cowboys over the Browns. I have the Lions over the Rams. I have the Bills over the Cardinals. The Bengals over the Patriots. I have the Dolphins over the Jags. I have the Giants over the Vikings. I have the Seahawks over the Broncos. This game here was tough for me too. I'm rolling with the Bucks over the Commanders. And then I have San Fran beating the Jets. Holla at you, boy.
I agree with everything, although I am going to stand here today and tell you that the Broncos will surprise everyone, winning week one with Bo Nix at quarterback over.
I actually love that pick too. I just think the Broncos
something about it, and it's in Seattle, which makes it extremely unlikely. But something is telling me that the Seahawks are not going to be showing up the way that we are used to them week one.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest takeaway is Carolina Panthers absolutely lose. I think that it's a divisional game, so it does make it hard. They absolutely have a chance, but you're going into the Saints Stadium on week one. I just think it's going to be a hard game for them to win.
That is it. Well, I agree with you there, Chris. I think that's hysterical. That was the 2-minute drill. That's going to wrap up today's show. And we want to thank everyone for coming out. We want to wish everyone an awesome week one of NFL football. We will see everyone next week on Wednesday for our wrap up and our review of an awesome first week. And then we will also be discussing our discussions on next week, week 2. For CJ, the sports enthusiast, Dr. MJB, the legend, I'm Dr. Mikey B. See you guys next week.